Welcome, Bulldog fans. After a successful season opener for Mississippi State, Coach Mike Leach's team, 49-23 final over the Memphis Tigers. Okay, I know a lot of fans want to talk about the sloppy part of the third and fourth quarters. The story tonight was, well, of course, besides the 2-hour lightning delay, Mississippi State came out, dominated the game for 2.5 quarters, exerted their will, took care of opening day. Everything else is just details.
Yeah, and then when they needed to put the game away late, they did. That was one of the things last year this team lacked, was some killer instinct. And it appeared that, that big touchdown pass, more riders to Rufus Harvey, was kind of an emphatic statement. And then Memphis kind of got silly late, trying to call some timeouts. And I told Mike Neiman then, I said, Leach is fixing to score.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he does. They toss a fade to Justin Robinson. I think that was kind of a kiss goodnight there. But all in all, good ball game for the Bulldogs, with some things to work on.
And I'm certain people will think maybe some revenge motive was involved, but no, that's the air raid, that's this offense. You could go out there, you play to score, and in fact, State had some backups in the game at that point as well. So let's just talk about the first half, and let's kind of ignore the 2-hour weather delay, because State came out, was brutally efficient on the first drive, had the delay, came right out, finished that drive 14-0, commit a turnover, defense holes, and then 21-3. That's the ball game.
Yeah, it was, and that's one thing, David, you and I discussed privately this week is Memphis, even though they were 6-6, they only trailed after one quarter twice last year. And State comes out efficiently, and both drives goes up 14-0, and in many respects really kind of took Memphis out of their game plan some. And I thought defensively we were outstanding for most of the ball game, and there was a stretch there in the third quarter where State had 35 points, Memphis had just 37 yards, and then things got a little dicey late with the second-team defense in there, but by and large, I thought this defense was as advertised.
I think, you pointed that out, as many points as the team had yardage. I pointed out, too, that at that point, State had 10 times as many yards as Memphis did, quite literally there. 12 guys caught balls, 5 of them for touchdowns. Will Rogers efficient, had one interception with a route where a guy just was not on the same page. A lateral ball that not alertly recovered. Really, though, played a very efficient game. Offensive line gave him time to play. And they just took care of a Memphis defense that tried 4-man lines, 3-man lines, blitzes. The offensive line just took care of business tonight.
They did, just the one sack there. And listen, the pick came as a result of some Memphis pressure. Will Reed's hot. I don't know what Calvin did there, but he didn't. He should have been running the hot route there. But the bottom line is that's a pick. The defense stood tall there. Rather than give up a touchdown, I think Memphis went backwards on 2 of those 3 plays and had to settle for a field goal, which was a win for the defense. But by and large, you win the ball game, but you have some teachable moments. And that's kind of the best case scenario for a coach. Is like you didn't have to lose the ball game to learn the lesson. I think State did a good job taking care of business,
especially on the defensive side. They had some mistakes there that we pointed out quite harshly, considering you won the game, but players always take it better. Same thing for the offense, where they look at the missed opportunities to make big plays that just didn't connect there. By the way, that sack is the one reason State did not rush for 100 yards. Would you have thought State would have a chance to rush for 100 yards in the season opener?
I did, just because I thought State would get a little margin. It's kind of salted away late. But Dylan Johnson, I thought, was outstanding. And about midway through the third quarter, I was checking numbers to start thinking, hey, he's got a realistic chance to make this. Of course, they rotate. Woody Martin's also a good night. But Dylan Johnson, over 100 yards of offense tonight. Jed Johnson said he has daddy strength now, and I think he exerted that. I think he really played, with some passion tonight. And I'm encouraged, David. I'm encouraged. We expected to win this ball game, but I thought the effort in which State played with was very, very good.
You say daddy strength. Jed Johnson was Memphis' daddy tonight.
Yes.
Defensive effort, 13 tackles, 7 solos, and every time he hit somebody, they went down. Memphis got no yards after contact worth noting.
Well, and the big hit on Hennigan, when Hennigan got flushed and Jed hits him after a 9-yard game, it was an emphatic shot. Sets up a 4th and 1. Memphis tries to run tempo, and then the Bulldog defensive line just overwhelmed them for a loss there. I thought that really kind of turned the corner a little bit, I guess, for this defense. They exerted themselves a little bit. And I think this defense, as good as they played tonight, can play better. And even with the second-team reserves in there, you had a couple of busts. I mean, it's like State's up, 35-3 or whatever, and you give up the long run there. That just can't happen. I mean, and Leach said himself, you can't live with that. You got to get that fixed.
So they started Cole Smith at right guard. They started Cameron Jones at right tackle. They took care of business. Again, 1 sack all game. Let's flip it over to the other side. Jaden Crumedy did not play. He was dressed out, had a cast on the hand, and we thought he would not play this week. And you say, well, you should be able to beat Memphis without this guy. They beat Memphis without this guy, and they beat them up. So now you've got him healthy, and you've got some guys on the defensive line showing the depth, gaining the confidence that they can take care of business.
Well, we still don't know when Crumley's going to be back in action, but the reality of it is
LSU.
But you have some depth there, and I think Nathan Pickering had a good ball game tonight. And even though he didn't fill up the box score, I thought he was in the backfield a lot. And this is an offense too that you're not going to get a lot of traditional pass rush because they get the ball out so quickly out to the perimeter and try to get you to chase the ball and tire yourself out. And I just think the Bulldog depth stood up to that challenge.
The only thing we don't know now is place kicking.
Yep.
They did hit all their point after attempts, and that's always a positive sign there. No field goals needed to be attempted tonight, so that's still a guessing game right there. We saw the punting, we saw the return game a little bit in that, so we have some ideas about it. So, but just a good, solid, all-around performance with, as you said, enough mistakes that the coaches did not let them get too cocky. And in fact, Will Rogers, Jet Johnson, Nate Watson all said the same thing. They've got to get better. Not just they can get better, they've got to get better.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was pleased in that post-game press conference. I mean, you could tell they're happy to get a win, but nobody was sitting there gleefully talking about the performance. And Will said he's beating himself up, and this is a guy that had a really good night tonight. But there were a couple passes, too, that were errant, and they were on him. And you never know if the receiver runs the wrong route. They got to get that cleaned up. But the bottom line is a nice building block is State heads to Arizona, who upset San Diego State today, and so that'll be awfully interesting too. And I think that game has taken on a little more intrigue because of the way the Wildcats played today.
Yeah, especially because the Wildcats were facing a team with a bunch of transfers there and won their game. Steve, he'll be headed out there leaving Wednesday. Of course, we'll have Mike Leach on Monday for his regular press conference. We'll talk to players and coaches on Tuesday and Wednesday as well. Steve will be covering us, representing the site and you Bulldog fans out in the desert country. We'll have a lot to talk about this coming week. It's well after midnight. We have our stories to file, so we're going to call it an early evening here. But a Mississippi State victory to open another season. Bulldogs 1-0. They take care of Memphis, get a revenge over last year, and now they have some building blocks to go to the season. For our 24/7 crew on Gene's page, with Steve Robertson, this is David Murray.